Hi, my name is Eric Odom. I'm the principal broker for ROI Commercial Property Brokerage in Tampa, Florida. Today we're continuing on with our No Free Lunch series. We'll be talking about usable versus rentable square footage. Just a little bit on the No Free Lunch series. The concept came from a colleague of mine who used to say when someone would receive something of value but they didn't think they were paying for it, he would say no free lunch, meaning that you were essentially paying whether you knew you were paying for it or not. Now, when I'm working on a tenant representation job, in other words, a client is using me to help them find space, many times after we're 2 or 3 weeks into the process, I'll show them properties and they'll call back and say, well, Eric, I found something that seems to be equivalent, but it's $2 or $3 less expensive than the other properties that you had showed me. The reality of dealing in multi-tenant office spaces is that it's not a commodity. There's a lot of differences in space to space, the least of not which is the difference between rentable and usable square footage. Rentable square footage in multi-tenant office space is not the space that you get to occupy. Rentable square footage is actually the amount that you're occupying plus some common load factor. Common load would include the bath, the hallways, the foyer, all those common areas that everybody in the building gets to use. Buildings with large common areas, typically large foyers and hallways, etc., even though they might be less expensive on paper, when you start digging a little deeper, you realize they're not less expensive. Now, the price might be less on paper, but the reality is you're paying for space that you're not using. So when you make an apple-to-apple comparison and actually make adjustments in the price, that large common area space could actually be more expensive. Here's the bottom line. Multi-tenant office spaces are not equal. One of the biggest varying differences in price to price is rentable versus usable square footage and how much common load the building actually has. This should give you pause for thought when you're looking at a building that has large common areas, a large foyer. Now, this might be the image that you're trying to create, big marbled entranceways, marbled hallways, but understand that you're paying for it. In the end, there is no free lunch. I hope you enjoyed our latest No Free Lunch program. My name is Eric Odom. I'm the principal broker for ROI Commercial Property Brokerage.